Bienvenidos a Disrupt Everything, podcast series by Isra García. Reinvéntate a ti mismo y cambia lo que más te importa.
I read this. It has been such a beautiful, abundant, soft, gentle, and loving space of transformation and connection. You are doing it so beautifully and pure, Lex. Nothing more is needed. Thank you. This is a testimonial I read from the website of our next guest. Someone really, really, really special for me because so many has happened thanks to her work, thanks to her presence, her being, her magic, and her gift. She is Lex Empress or Alea Kay, which will go deep into this. She's a singer, coach, speaker. Alea, or Lex, is an internationally renowned vocalist and a master of improvisation who acts as a bridge to connect people with their inner truth and empowers them to live their fullest potential. Alea has been an inspirer for nearly 20 years. I can say it's been inspiring me since I met her. And I can say she's one of the women who has impacted me in recently most in my life. Employing her intuitive voice work, she mesmerizes enormous crowds, electronic music settings, intimate jazz performances, whatever you could name. Improvisation is, as it always has been, her gift. She has now fine-tuned his improvisations to create a transformation journey for the listener individually. So for also the entire audience. And I'm one of these listeners individually who worked with and who works and will work with Lex or Lea. Her Soulsong concerts are sold out globally, and her retreats are amazing medicine for everyone attending. In 2020 was the advent of Trojan Hummingbird, Alea's debut album, in which all of her healing and transformation powers are available to those who can attend and who cannot attend. The concerts and the album combine the essence of performance excellence and the transformational work that will truly change and heal us. And also, all this is just what is true nature, because it's what I've been living since I met Lex at least 3-4 months ago. And I wanted to have Lex in the podcast because she's truly a disruptor. Her gift is one of the biggest or the most precious and more life-changing gifts I ever seen in an individual life, alive or death. And I've seen it and I felt it. It went through me and it helped me, it healed me, it changed me, it transformed me myself. So I'm one of the people that has been transformed by Lex or Lea's gift. So I've been shaken to my deepest roots, and that's the work of a woman like Lex is capable of doing it, as she's done it with thousands of individuals. I came through her thanks to my soul sister, Natasha Pelgrom, another change maker, another ruckus maker, another disruptor that I had in my podcast. That it was a few minutes ago with Lex in a beautiful surprise when I connected to her. Both of them really important women in my life. Natasha has been one of my biggest highlights every year. So every year, Natasha highlight of the year. Every year, Natasha highlight of the year. So check out her podcast that also will be in the show notes. And I want to finish with also another testimonial I saw in the website, which says, Alea Kay, what's in a name? The best, the purest, and the most soul-shaking experience ever. Oh my God. Love you and thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, Welcome to a disruptor of a lifetime,
Mm.
Alea Kay or Lex Empress. Welcome.
Hi. Oh man, I had to for a moment just let all this beauty come in. It's so beautiful to hear you talk. It's really, really. I think if I'm allowed to say something to respond somehow, I know that I'm trailblazing in what I'm doing, which means that there's a jungle in front of me, and I have a big knife, and I have to cut out the woods, and I have to create the path, and not everybody gets it. It's also not the point that everybody gets it, but the path has to be created somehow, and I don't really have the time to really look back. It's just mainly being present and doing what needs to be done, and also not going too much in the praise of it, but when it comes back, like, this is so juicy. So it's really nice to hear you talk with such beautiful wording, and also love the fact that you did mention Natasha, and in one beautiful breath of fresh air, like this combination of a woman as she is, as present, as embodied, as there's certain essence to that kind of beauty as a practitioner, as a human being a woman. There's something there, and I identify very much with that, and it's just great to hear you start to talk about me like this, because I don't often experience that. There's just no time. As you said, I'm a disruptor, so there's no time. We have no time.
Oh, well deserved, Lex, and also the good that you are doing in the world needs to be known. This is why I wanted to have a voice in this podcast, reach the bigger audience you can reach, and so that these people can have the gift and have the chance to work with you, which is a mesmerizing experience, a life-changing experience. And I'm not saying this always, because that's the fact that for me it's been life-changing. So we're grateful and blessed to have you in this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's go to the intro, and then we go with the questions.
Disrupt everything. Explora los márgenes o muere intentándolo.
So here we go. Here we are from Valencia, already in Spain after 6 months adventure, traveling and living and being shaken by the life, by the world, by everything. And from Ibiza, if I recall,
Absolutely.
And now we have a lot of questions. We have a beautifully or at least crafted interview for Lex about her experience, about her life, her work, her gift, and her responsibility and her place in the world. And my first question to start somewhere is, if you were about to put your life in perspective and look back, present, and we're about to put the most important highlights as a milestones in your life timeline, what will be those milestones and why?
So there's been a lot of medicine in my life that other people consider to be poison, and I think I'm sure that just before I incarnated, I just said, bring it on, just give it all to me, as if you're walking into the bar and you order the entire bar. That's kind of what I did, including all the stuff that nobody will ever be able to digest. So I was born in a situation that even if you would make a film about it, people would immediately from the start go, okay, this is absolutely exaggerated. So much drama in one place, an amount of insanity, destruction, well, potential gone to waste, just name it. It was all there, and I was born in that. I think looking back, being in this present moment, having had the bar with all the poison for me being medicine, because I allowed it to become medicine, has made me a facilitator with a Rolodex, you know, the old school Rolodexes. Just name it, and I probably lifted. And I think what has been very important has been death. So I have lost from a very early age on. I lost my father without being able to say goodbye to him. He had a brain. I forgot the name. He had well, at least he passed away like in days, and I didn't get to see him anymore. My brother died about a year and a half after, and he raised me in a car accident. Then my sister couldn't bear it anymore, so she committed suicide. There was another sister that committed suicide. My mother died 2 weeks ago. This is not a joke. It's 2 weeks. So it's all like, and it's all woven into each other. This is my family of shadows. And the interesting thing is that having that, and this is the people in my direct family, but it did echo beyond that, having them falling away, being so present in their absence, and also having to work through the medicine and allowing it to become a medicine and not become something to lament continuously or to become a victim of, but actually stand with it and walk with it, gave me the opportunity to work with people and work with myself with that enormous shadow side. People call it a shadow, but it's such a light side. It's where life is, you know, it's below the ground, it's in the soil. That's where the new seeds sprout. That's where they sprout. They sprout in the soil. They don't go and sprout in bright light, where we're so addicted to continuously talking about the bright lights. But no, in that shadow, and especially where the leaves have fallen in fall, and where they have been disintegrating and creating new nutrition, that's where the new seeds sprout. So I think death, so the passing of my family members has been a huge thing. And that was mostly between my 13th and my 16th, and then in the recent years with my mother passing 2 weeks ago, which really closed it. Now I'm not only an orphan, but my brother and my two sisters are also gone. We are all liberated. It's an absolute liberation, and we can all stand liberated so beautifully. My family of shadows and me, with me knowing, very aware that I am fulfilling the destiny of all of those very, very amazing, powerful people through me, and having to do that consciously with a lot of humor and just showing up. I think one of the other major parts has been abuse, and in my case, it's been from very young age, from 6 to 8, from 14 to 18 has been sexual abuse, which a lot of women go through. I mean, I'm not an exception, nor am I unique, but I do know that in my case, it prepared me for a multitude of years of submissive behavior, not understanding that maybe I could have a different position as a woman in society. And now I'm definitely not referring to anything revolutionary or aggressive, but this is mainly holding my own ground, choosing my own sexuality, my own identity, my own position, and most definitely also choosing the position of the one that can bring the wisdom, and allowing that to be the position that should have naturally been mine even a long time ago, when I was still trying to bend myself somehow into that little box that I could fit in, that was labeled, it's just a woman. She can be in arts, she can be a musician, she can maybe behind closed doors advise us, but never really in the front. And I think that was a big one. And to work through that, but also to work, because you can work through that so many ways, but to work through that and come out and understand, ooh, we all, men and women, are suffering in these positions that we have been pushed into. The men are being abused in an abusive system and start becoming the abusers that they never wanted to become, but they haven't created the system. And then the women feel abused or are abused and then start abusing the men again in the lower currents of the water. And I think those events, so the abuse and even the rapes, it's all quite horrid. Everything that happened there readied me to find this balance, like, who am I, what am I, but who are we as women, who are we as men and women, and what is really going on, without pushing anyone away, but actually embracing everybody, saying, come here, sit with me, my friend, and also my sister, just come and like, show me your wounds, what happened there, and did you do this? No, of course you didn't do this. This was caused by something that you did never invent, that you were never part of. And I think, yeah, that was another one. So the abuse has been huge. And then I would say, I mean, the amount of things I've done is just, but let's just say I was born psychic. So I was born with vision, which led immediately to me having the ability from very young age on, seeing things that I quite early on realized that nobody else saw, which was such a shock. It was horrible. Because I would enjoy the clouds and the colors of spring passing through the air, or I would see definitely beautiful spirits, also scary ones, they exist, but also beautiful ones pass by. And there was a certain point that I realized that it was me and maybe my sisters and maybe my mother, but most definitely not my friends. And that, that changed my life. I am that, and I am also that voice. I am that voice that comes and speaks about it, that sings, that brings down the coding that comes with the vision that I've received since birth and way before, but it definitely manifested in this life from the birth. And yeah, I think there's so much more. There's the traveling, where I speak 7 languages now. There's the all the people I met, all the interactions, all the collaborations, also the ones where I absolutely chose poison instead of medicine, and also that turned back into medicine again. So there's so much, but I would say those 3 things are they come to mind now. So
Lex, what how and when did you find your gift?
Now, which one?
That's a good question. So first we will start with the ability to read, and also the ability to sing, not only sing, but just touch the souls and also create this Soulsong. Yeah.
So I would say from early age on, I had vision. So that means technically, when a child is born with it, technically you can already do everything from the very beginning. Yet the rules to the game always somehow have to be relearned. So you can't go and manipulate situations, even though it's possible to change the weather, because it is, and it sounds a bit weird, but it is possible. You can't just go and do that all the time, but you find that out through time. Also in communication with the spirits, with the angelics, with the elements, and especially also with the divine, there's rules to the game. To be able to learn those rules, you just have to bump into the walls and to know where the boundaries are, and then you hit your nose and you heal, and then you sit with it. And if you do a good job, then you can clear and clean and clarify what can be done and what can be accessed in order to be of service, because the point is evidently to somehow be of service. The cleanliness was of great importance, and it took me also, because I was just a pretty girl, and as I said, I've been abused as a young girl, which led to me going into this very strange submissive position, which is not a position that I am allowed to go in. I need a sovereign position without any arrogance. It's sovereign yet humble, and yet submissive is well. What, let's say, at least counterproductive, if not it's destructive to the gift. So the cleanliness, letting go, learning how to be sovereign, cleaning the word, cleaning the actions, cleaning the body, no intoxication, lesser intoxication, getting rid of codependent relationships, of dependency in whatever way, holding space for the self, and then then it opens more and more. At a certain point, I had 5 guides when I was young, and they're still there, by the way, but they used to talk through me, hilarious, to spirits that had been human, 1 element, and 2 angelics of different kind, but they would sometimes not agree. So they would have actual discussions with me asking a question, and I would just have to sit it out. And there was a point where I understood that if I would clean myself enough and would be it's kind of that sweet spot, the space in between where the humble position becomes the priority, or humble at service, the priority above anything, where I realized I just want to channel the divine directly. No more a voice of this or that, regardless of how high it is. Because also the angelic has opinion, and I love him, but it's opinionated. And there's, I'm just going to go for it, explain this. So when arriving in that space, which is the all or nothing, there is this possibility to drop a question or to ask for vision, and then receive information that evidently comes from all or nothing. So there is no polarity, so it cannot even be read until you put in the question or the request and then move it. I can only describe it as such. You kind of move the space a little bit, and then it kind of drips down in a sort of duality coming from that divine space. Hence, an answer comes, which is super pure in frequency. And so that became, because I was born with it, I had so much time developing the direct connection. I can imagine if people are years in, have a gift, then that still has to develop. But I mean, my earliest memories of me working with the energies, I was 4, sitting outside of the house, moving the energies, pushing the seeds and clouds through the space. I think at 5, I really was fed up with all the spirits in my room, so I would draw this wall. I would draw a door on the wall to let them out in the evening, and that worked. So yeah, so I had a lot of time. It just gave me a lot of time to kind of really polish it to where do I really want this to be, and no concession. And then in my normal life, because my mother raised me to believe, don't ever talk about this. We don't talk about this because it's dangerous. My mother was interbellum child. So in her time, her gift was extremely dangerous. It was just dangerous, like dangerous. So she taught me still, we do not talk about this because it will endanger you. It will take you out of a space of safety. So study, do something as normal as possible, and you'll be fine. So I studied. I ended up becoming a singer because that was clearly the gift. One of the gifts was singing. The other one was sculpturing. So anything created with the hands. But the singing became the thing, and I couldn't help but improvise, because at a certain point, with all the madness going on, my family really, with the gifts not being actively seen and them being medicated, they all lost their mind. So I ended up being the only one that escaped that fate. And in order to really escape it, I had to start improvising. I'm on borrowed time already now for a good, I think 15 years, maybe even 20. But it's a miracle that I'm here. So the point became, what can I do today? How can I improvise in a way that I will still be there tomorrow? Which often leads to behavior that is non-coherent with what the masses are doing. But it is definitely coherent with what is needed for the benefit of, in my case, then the individual, and now as I function, the collective, the greater good. And in 2009, I was spoken to by the 5 guides, and they said, okay, it's done. You have to come out of the closet being psychic. And they explained exactly how. So I was in Bali. I was living in Bali at the time. No, I was not living in Bali anymore, but I was there a lot. And they explained it. You're going to cross the bridge there. You're going to run into that person. That person, you're going to offer a session of an hour and a half. That person is going to say yes. You're going to sit there. You're going to do that. You're going to ask these questions, and we'll be guiding you. And that just happened and worked. And there I was. So those were the first readings. Yet it was clear, because I was in electronic music and in jazz, improvising, and I was singing Soulsong my entire career, but nobody knew. So people in front of me in the audience would be crying, and then I said, I want to know the name of this track. No, I just improvised. That's impossible, but I did. But you touched me so much. It could be like, I just like, evidently I was singing the room, singing an individual. I was singing the spirit of the girl that was standing in front of me. I was singing the story of a family that I saw in front of me. And I did that, but I did it without clarifying or stating or even claiming that I did. And in retrospect, I think that's a phenomenal way to remain really humble and meanwhile just share the medicine. But I did understand that the scene that I was in was extremely toxic. And there was this abuse of my voice being the medicine just to make a lot of money. And I'm a little bit naive in that sense. So I will think that we'll be on the same path and on the same mission, and then trust the wrong people. I am happily equipped with a naive nature that comes from the fact that I'm just not as messed up as the majority of people that are able to figure that out. I can't sense it because I don't have that shittiness in me. So I know that's for, I know that's it. I can't pick it up because I simply don't recognize it. I don't get it. And I probably never will. All good. In 2016, I channeled Soulsong. I was in a session. I channeled the thing. I drove home. I built a website and it was there. I bought a yurta that I put in my garden. I had no money. I bought the thing anyway. And the whole thing just started. And it blew up. People sat in front of me. I sang their song. It just started like that. Because I would sing improvised songs with words. I did that before. But there was a point where it became the question, can she maybe also do this for a person? And people would just try. So they sat down in front of me and received their song. They received their song. And what happened, as it did always, but now out in the open, I would see the visions. I see visions. The visions are always beautifying. They're never to harm or to destroy or to break anything down which cannot be broken down. And I'll sing the visions. I mean, I have enough experience as a singer to nail it vocally, so that's not the issue. There's enough years of musical combat there, And and then after the song, I will explain a little bit more about the vision if needed. And already traveled the world enough to be able to sing in various languages. And there it was. And that's it. That's just it. And now, people can come, they can sit here in my yurta in front of me. I can go to them. I can fly to the other side of the world, sit in front of a group, bring the medicine, bring the meditations too. But I think the soul song, especially it's the sweet spot. It's really the sweet spot.
I can say that every morning when I wake up, I listen my soul song. Since the last since the day you sung it,
Mm.
I listen every morning. Every morning.
That's so awesome to hear. That's
Every morning. How did you find your mission in life? And what's your purpose, by the way?
I found the mission by losing everything. So I lost there was nothing. There was no more family, there was no money, there was no wealth, no family, no promise, no, I wasn't a white middle-aged man, so also no ease. um, I wasn't common, so also no community that would just embrace me easily. So in the loss or the lack of and the emptiness, I found the mission. How can I and how can another person overcome this with joy, with fun, with beauty, in connection, with love, and with the miracle of the divine essence? So it really, the emptiness gave me the mission, explained what my purpose was. There was nothing left, nothing.
What did it explain you about your purpose?
What did it explain about my purpose?
Yes.
So the interesting thing about the divine, or the way that the information comes through in code, is that it is like nothing. And there's not a lot of people that are able to understand the completeness of nothing and allow to look it in the eye. But yeah, being born with this awkward set of gifts, I naturally, curiously started looking at this grand void and saw the all. So yeah, to be one of those, and there are very few. I mean, a lot of people claim it nowadays because it's still happening, to use all this lingo and just go run off with it, and just sell it cheap. But to be able to give the divine memory back to humanity where it has been forgotten, yeah, that was simply whispered in the emptiness. We are going to take everything from you. That was the message. Do not get attached. Do not get attached to family. Do not get attached to normality. Do not get attached to relationships, to friends. Don't get attached to places, to spaces. Don't get attached to things. And why not? Because the attachment is the absence of the divine essence. And in the experience of, with open hands, just letting the emptiness appear and be. I mean, I know the divine space really well, but it's in the emptiness where it can be described, where it can be sung, where it can be, where it can become poetry and meditation, where it can become a woven word. And there it can be heard by another person that might have completely forgotten or never knew. Yeah. So I hope this answers your question.
It does. What have you learned? What have you learned about finding your path and about doing what you do over these years? What would you say have been your wow moments on learning?
I think to understand that every song is different, that every human being, while dead or alive, has growth potential, has beauty. The wow is in every second. I'd say. Epic epic moments can appear out of the blue, completely unexpected. I think my biggest wow moments are the moments that other people show me what the work has done for them with so much joy. And preferably, I think one of the nicest ones was recently when I sang somebody's Soulsong. He didn't expect it. He bought a free ticket to a Sunday concert. The rest of the people that paid didn't show up. He was there, and I said, "Buddy, I'm just going to sing you a song. You know, who cares?" Because normally you have to pay for the song, but you can listen in. You know, when you just want to listen in, and then you don't pay anything. So I sang his song, and he actually told me that 2 years before I sang his song, and he followed everything that I told him. So he quit his horrific job that he had. He chose his true life path. And he was now creating beautiful art, light art with wood, and just marvelous. And what happened is that after I sang his song, and I said, "Well, thank you. It was really nice singing your song." He didn't hang up the Zoom call, and he called his brother in tears, explaining what just happened to him. So he was explaining, I get really emotional again. He was explaining what happened to him and how important that was to him. And he was crying, and being so overwhelmed, so grateful. And he couldn't stop saying, "This really happened. This is incredible. It really happened." And she saw everything. It's like, and he didn't know that I was there. And I was just in the corner of my room on the floor sitting to take it in. And I was sobbing. I was just crying because it's one thing when a person knows that they're talking to you, because they will pack it and wrap it up differently, but he didn't know. So it was so genuine, and it was so pure. And those are the wow, the big wows. The big wows is where someone walks into my house a few weeks ago and starts singing her own soul song with her eyes closed, just tapping, relax while singing it, and really just in it and completely unaware of the fact that I'm still there. And me again, like sobbing because it's so pure. It's so pure what happens there. It's so pure. And I don't remember that song. I remember the vision. So if people refer to a song and they explain what the song was about, I can recall the vision. Even though I've sung thousands of them now, I can still do that. But I can't sing the song again. But to hear another person do that and be in it and realize that they've been listening to it just like you do every single day, and it's been medicine and it changed their life. It got them off drugs. It got them out of bad relationships. It got them into healthy habits. It got them into the light and into the purpose, the connection to the purpose, remembering who they are. It's everything. It's everything. And I used to be like, whoa, big stages, boom, 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 huge festivals. No, 40,000 people. Yeah, it's cute, but it's meaningless if the intent and the communication and the totality and the holistic point, the organization, what we're doing, why we're doing it, if it's not right there, if it's not exactly right, if it's not clean, if it's not clear. And I'm not talking about there's Boom Festival, and also the Voice of Boom Festival. That's a different story. That's my family. I'll open every single Boom. I never want. I don't want to get paid. I don't want nothing. I just want to come in and be part of the family, and I'll be in front of 35,000 people. But then we are family. It's different because the intent and the mission is the same. So yeah, give me a big crowd, and I'll do it that. But I will never compromise again. It's just yeah. So the wows they're this big, like a guy that didn't hang up his Zoom call to opening Boom Festival for 35,000 people and knowing that we are one in love. It's yeah. And can I say something else?
Yes, sure.
I think one big fat realization is that there's so much nonsense around, and I bring thick nectar of truth. And I pay a price for that. It's a very, very soulistic journey. It's a tough one. It's full on. It's not easy. It's not always appreciated what I do, and is often pushed away by people who just want to make a lot of money, as I said before. So it's not easy. But my goodness, in the past few years, because I wasn't too deep into the whole spiritual scene, but the amount of nonsense around is just, it's mind blowing. What are we doing, really? What are we doing? So yeah, I don't know if we can, maybe we can put it out there today, like, choose the real stuff. Ask your intuition if what you are, what you are choosing, if it really resonates to the very, very core of you. And if it does not, then don't, go for the thing that is real, for the true nectar. Go for the truth. Might be a little bit more bitter in the beginning when you have to learn, but then it's going to go sweet in a way that you've never known before.
Lex, can you dissect for us what a soul song means?
Sure. Yeah. So every Soulsong concert is, and I don't go into, it also has to do with the fact that I was born psychic, so I don't really do the whole thing with dressing up and doing a ritual and smoking the whole place out. And we just start. We start like a normal concert, and preferably there's a pianist like Gillian or a great guitarist like Jordi. They have been playing with me a lot. Gillian has traveled the entire world with me. He's played thousands of soul songs, and the place is the moment is ceremony. The place is a ceremonial space. The moment we start, you can also feel somehow the field opening, the connection to the divine opening. The musicians also, I've done this a few times with people that had never done it before. There was one brilliant pianist in LA. He kept looking at his hands after every song, not understanding what happened minutes before.
Wow.
He kept looking at it and looking at me like, what's, and literally saying, what's going on here? And then I would just say, like, it's okay, just start the next song. But what do I play? And I would just say, like, it will come. And it would come. And then after a song, like looking at his hands, yeah, because it's it's guided. It's guided, and we can think about it or not think about it, identify with it, not identify with it, preferably. And but it's definitely a ceremonial space held. Also, when it's one-on-one, there's ceremony there. There's guidance there. There's protection there. What the Soulsong does, it's evidently a song. There's music there. There's a song there. There's different levels of work that are being done. So on a very superficial level, you can say, well, it's a 4, 5, 6 minute song with a message in it. The message is maybe explained. There is medicine coming in on a cellular level while the song is being sung. And that remains to happen when you re-listen your song. So it will help you clean out stuck parts of the physical, any obstructions in the body, if that is a necessity, or it will bring back flow, or reignite fertility if needed, etc. Just really depends on what is necessary. But it plus, I am not, while I'm doing that, deciding that is happening. I am letting it come through and allow to facilitate with my full presence that can be done. So it's completely guided. So that's physical. It can have, it can be also clearing of the lungs, obstructions in the nervous system, just digestive system, just name it. I know it when it happens. I see it. And I can also name it, and often I don't. Often I don't go and explain that because it all becomes, I want it to be a nice show as well, right? So I stick with what is beautiful, what is comprehensible, what is important in the moment. And if people really come to me afterwards and they ask more, I will explain, okay, there was quite an obstruction in your digestive system that comes from the inability to digest your life. Energetically, there was worked on that. Like, let's see how this goes. Don't forget to drink a lot of water. And then there's so then it can be so many levels. There can be the ancestral line that comes back. There can be a clearing of the karma. Is not one of my favorite words because we go into a certain direction immediately, but there can be patterns that have been there through lifetimes, but also multidimensionally speaking can be there. So things that you are actually repeating right now in other expressions of your life that we can get rid of, that we can get out of your system. So that is a very deep spiritual layer. Then there can be the connection to loved ones that have passed. There can be the connection to loved ones that are there. Reconnecting, fixing the relationships, making people visible often happens. Bringing back the realizations of who a person is to revitalize physical, mental, emotional, spiritual parts of the persona for them to be able to tap into their full potential. That can happen. There can be the removing of mental blockages, actual brain surgery like reconnections, and bringing back the ability to hold serotonin in the brain. It's really that specific, and it's visible while I'm singing the song, with people just thinking you're just singing a song. Meanwhile, this is all happening, and it's different for every person. Every song is different. When there's grief, often it's working on the grief, opening up the almost a cradle where a person can lay in, where the grief can take place, and then bringing in the spirit of the person and allowing it to really work on it through the song, and making the song medicine for the grief and the mourning to take place and to slowly pass in a healthy way. Then there's the frequency. So all this is expressed in wording, but there's a frequency. There's different kind of techniques, vocal techniques that are applied in various moments. I have quite a reach, so I can sing extremely low, extremely high, and both are applied in different moments. There's also jumps that can be done that have a different meaning, which I don't even go while I'm singing into what and why. I just do exactly what is being depicted, which can also be technically super complicated. So I always have to make sure that my voice is ready to sing complicated Edith Piaf kind of vibratos, the super, I call them the hummingbird vibrato, like, but also to sing the very beautiful classic jazz vibrato, the longer ones, because sometimes that is the medicine for a person. I have to be able to tap in technically into all of what is being shown that I have to do, and there's deliver. My place is to deliver what is being shown verbally, vocally, frequentially, and in information. And then it works on all these levels: spirit, mind, heart, body, and multidimensional. Some people can walk away without knowing yet, having solved a huge blockage in all of their lives being lived right now. And I'm saying it now because I'm not actually singing the song, so I can claim it now without entering into the very dangerous field of ego, because I can't go and talk about this too much, owning it. That's why I'm also saying I'm just at service. I have no clue. I don't even question it as it happens. But after a song, I cannot go and claim that I did this. So I have to downtone also the information without letting go of the information that needs to be communicated, hence to make the message complete. But that's this very fine line where it becomes I just changed your entire life thingy, which when said in the wrong way is poison to my gift. It will destroy the ability if I would tap into any kind of arrogance around this.
Lex, so one of the things that stop us or also like pushes us away are the limiting beliefs, right? So how you suggest, or have you done it, we can identify and clear our limiting beliefs?
Yeah, I've chosen recently, also in the program that I do Mother of Pearl, which is a 5-week program. It's all about remembering who you are. The moment you actually remember who you are, when you remember your connection to Mother Earth, to all life, also to life that you cannot consciously see yet, and then remember your connection to the divine, then you remember yourself, your purpose, and you also remember what the truth is. It's otherwise it becomes a little bit how would you say that, manufactured. So it becomes a little bit artificial. The moment you start removing limiting beliefs, if the remembering of who you are, and what your connections are is not in place, so then you're kind of, okay, so this is a really rough patch on the earth. We didn't really break down the towers yet, but yeah, let's build a beautiful construct of, and then just fill it in, like what nowadays appears to be the thing that is very much appreciated so much, let's put it this way, is manifesting success, or manifesting, just name it, manifesting, everybody's manifesting, but without the core being in place, the core remembering of who one is, what the connection is to where we are, who we are truly connected to, what the divine essence is, and back to the purpose. And without that memory, it will always lead to, and this is kind of the way it looks from my perspective, having vision, those little demons, they are simply waiting in the back for people to go and play out their arrogant games of manifestation and then catch you while you're not watching. And then you find yourself drunk at a bar, screwing a girl that you never wanted to screw. I'm sorry for like putting it out there, you know. You end up in a marriage that you never wanted. You end up doing a job you never liked. You have the house, the big car that you want, you have the boat, and you're hollowed out and you don't know why. So it's like, and they're just waiting. They are super patient. They're way more patient than we are. They'll just wait. They'll wait until you don't pay attention. And the only way to, the thing is, when you remember who you are and what your true connections are, you can sit with your demons and hang out and go like, so what are we going to do, guys? So what do you want me to learn? Tell me what you want me to learn, because I want to learn that. And then you can make it almost a collaboration between your shadow and your light, because you're present with all that you are. With this ridiculous addiction to the manifestation, to the light side of life, to the you know, we're in the light, the darkness is just literally laughing. They're laughing their asses off in the back. They're rolling on the ground, going, look at them, look at those idiots, look at them go. Because you can't, and you have to connect to all that you are. And that's a lot of light and it's a lot of shadow, because that makes beauty. There is no beauty to you and me if we don't let these beautiful, like, physical manifestations that we have be in light, and then let the shadows play. That's why we become so beautiful. So yeah, it's limiting beliefs can only be undone when remembered who one is and what it really means to be here, because then you can stop. You automatically, in the remembering, stop destructive behavior, because you can't hurt Mother Earth. The moment you remember the connection to Mother Earth, you have to stop. Like, what I show immediately is like your hands will open, like, no, I can't go and consume the animals of the world, because they are me. You remember that their heartbeat is your heartbeat. It will become surreal to pick a flower without asking permission, which is all airy fairy tree hugging nonsense, until you remember. Because it's the truth. You'll be like weirding yourself out, going like, did I put alcohol in this system? Why would I do that? Knowing that alcohol is a medicine with 1, 2, 3 drops. Absolutely. More than that, no. Whatever anyone ever tells you, never will be. No. But because we're not connected, we go and, hey, who cares? Well, yeah. Until you remember, you won't be able to drink anymore. And that's the point. So the limiting beliefs have to be connected to the remembering of the truth. Then they go. But they evaporate. They don't have to be forced out anymore.
Lex, after all these years of dedication, what would advice would you give us to live our fullest potential?
Find the courage to be here. The reason why I'm still alive is because I've been courageous enough to stick around every single moment. Courage is everything. And in the courage to be in the present, you will find the kindness, and you will retrieve also part of the humor, that because the whole thing is a cosmic joke. It's hilarious. Like, it's hilarious. If you see me and Natasha, we laugh our asses off. She makes me piss my pants all the time, and vice versa. And we are some powerful beings. We move some serious waves. But it's all like, we laugh so much because in truth, it's all a cosmic joke. There's so much humor to the whole construct. So the courage to be present will lead to an enormous amount of kindness, because you remember who you are and why you're here and what your connection is to earth, life, divine. Then in that, you will find the humor, that it's funny in the connection to the synchronicity and the joy of it, and the irony in life and death, even death. Especially when death is courageously looked in the eye, there's so much medicine in that. Wow. Do connect to the people that are going through loss. Connect to the people that are going through pain. Sit with them and ask questions. Be courageous. Sit with the ones that are suffering. Sit with the person that is living in the street, and just sit for a moment and say, like, I want to know your story. Could be courageous and show up. Connect to the lady that is always sitting at the toilets and ask her, can you please tell me what is going on in the world? Because they know. Be courageous enough to ask the people, the keystones. Be courageous enough to sit with the wisdom keepers. Don't be blindsided by power and money. Be courageous enough to sit with the true wealth. Wisdom. Knowledge is overrated. Wisdom. But it takes a lot of courage, because it will go fully 180, like it's the opposite movement of what society has dictated for us to do. It's like, knowledge is power, science, yay, wealth and money, all these, even when I say it, I go and just it's all like, you just see like fat man eating big steaks and having a lot of wine with it. It's like, sure, honey. But I prefer to talk to a lady who comes from the field, who just walked 15 miles to get water. What did you think of when you were walking there? And it takes courage to show up and have that conversation, because she might tell me, who the hell do you think you are, with your white privilege, whateverness that you're bringing about. And then I'll first have to say, yeah, you're right. And then I have the courage to show up to that and take responsibility for that, because I was born privileged. And then have the, and sit with that and learn from that. It's just showing up. Courage leads to kindness. Have a good laugh about it. And say yes. Just say yes. Go for it. So many people are not going for it. And I'm not meaning just blindsided, destructively going for everything, but if you feel intuitively, this is a good thing, this is really a good thing, go for it.
Lex, what are the most important lessons that you take from coaching thousands of individuals? What are the lessons you take from them?
So when working with the groups, what I find very interesting is that because I can hold in the field, I can hold in a group of about 50 people, hold them under my wing easily for 5 weeks, and transformation will happen. The work, because this is also something that's very interesting, when work is real, when it is truth-based, it is almost overlooked by people because we're so used to doing work which is 75% max good, but we need like the resonance of dark, we need the resonance of patterns to recognize ourselves, that part of ourselves, and then go like, oh, but this I understand, kind of as if you are, you'll have the fruit, but only if you can have a glass of whatever next to, like, oh yeah, this is really healthy, but you need the poison. So I see that often in other work, that when a facilitator is not clean, people are drawn to it actually faster. And the work doesn't work as well, but it is consumed like McDonald's. Like, are you fulfilled? No, but I'll have it again. So it's what I notice working with the groups is that the change is profound, yet subtle, as is the truth. So it's really profound. It just goes on, it works, and it moves on all levels, and you can actually change the collective. And this is what I learned through Mother of Pearl. The collective field can be alternated, can be transformed, even to the point where those people that are not attending are transforming. And that was mind-blowing to me, because I see it in the guided meditations, because I'm actually, being who I am, I'll go and look through the field, what else is going on. So there's the people that are doing the guided meditation, then often there are the people that are in the program that are not consciously doing the guided meditation. They are there, so they are represented. They're kind of sometimes in like a sleeping state, present. And then there's a whole field of other people that have the potential or have the intent to do the work. They're there. So I've been seeing this more and more. There's an actual field of people that are being helped while other people are doing the work. So that's on the group level. The thing that, like, that last thing is the thing that blew my mind. I think on an individual level, in the coaching sessions, the work that I do is like an Italian suit. I will show up to the questions that you have and channel the answers, create a guided meditation that will work for exactly the questions that you asked. It will not be the same as any guided meditation I ever did before, and I will sing your soul song. And if and when you repeat it, you can change, you in the repetition, change your life. So I give you the medicine in an hour and a half, maybe two, and I'll give it to you, I'll record it, I'll make sure you get it. And then in repetition, you don't ever have to go back to that state you were in before. And it's an Italian suit. They fit like a glove, they're like,
I can say that is true. I lived through.
Yeah, and then what I noticed is when people go into a trajectory with me, so one time can be enough, because I love the one-stop shop. Let's fix it in one go. Why not? People that have decided for me to become their life coach, which is something I'm always asking, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Because it's like, I'm a catalyst. It's quite something to work with me. I'll turn your life upside down every week. It's like not, but it's fine. There's people that really want this. I've seen them transform completely up to the point where they are in the worst relationships with their parents, being horrible narcissists, and remaining in love and being able to tell them after they hear the most devastating things, it's okay, forgiving their parents in the moment. And it's just where a year before they could just hate. So yeah, and then there's a possibility that I know now, to just keep on fine-tuning and bringing people to a purpose of service. That's interesting.
Lex, how do you stay present, calm, and centered?
For me, a healthy lifestyle is really important. So I keep my diet very clean. I stay away from animal proteins because for me that works. And I think actually, if and when done balanced, I think it would work for most people. But I think it's hard to understand how that is done really properly. You know, you have to know lupino beans and you have to know these specific things because people just go vegan and they'll start eating only salads. You die. You know, it's impossible. So that is one of the things. There's no alcohol. There's no substances. There's no smoking. Toxic people can't. Yeah, even a small encounter with someone who attacks me can really get me out of balance. So I aim to stay away from that. There's the continuous being of service. So not only with the people that book a session with me, but I will tell a person in the street something beautiful about themselves or go and tell them something that they can do. This is from the moment I wake up until the moment I go to bed. And I know that that is one of the ways that I remain centered because I resonate my mission the entire day. And surround myself with people. And this is something that I learned very late because of the abuse. I never allowed myself so much to be surrounded with people that helped me. But I do that now, luckily. I surround myself with people that also care for me and carry me, which is not an easy thing to do because I come from a space, I know shit. But if people really are just present, then there's nothing but beautiful connection. You know, there's not so much needed. It's not about a continuous, profound communication that is necessary. No, let's have a good laugh and share a good meal and you know, and a stroke, a beautiful stroke, you know, with love over the cheek, and we are home. And yeah, and I know that are a few people in my life now that really hold me the way that I hold as many people as I can. So I know that that keeps me focused and centered. Mm. Yeah, I have my family of shadows. I have this incredible family on the other side that is guarding me. Mm. And the connection, the divine connection, the music. Mm. Yeah,
Lex,
makes it.
I have rapid fire questions, like a roundup of rapid fire questions.
Ha.
Is a quick answer. What are you?
Well, this. Whoa, man. That's like the smallest and the biggest answer. It's like you can't answer that. I think it's like, okay, just it's like Gillian, the pianist, and me driving to a gig and saying, it's like the weirdest thing. Sitting with you in the car driving to the gig, I know that the universe is in the passenger seat. Yeah. And that's like, I didn't say that, but I know what he means, you know? But it's also the smallest, you know. I'm like a little fluffy, like a bunny, you know. Yeah. Yeah.
Who is who inspires you?
Every single living and even also not visible yet still living for me, moving energy.
Have you had any mentor that has impacted your life?
Oh yes. And those are very beautiful, very simple people that have, at the moment that I was ready, just like my sisters, to end my life because I was done, I was exhausted, that just told me that they loved me. And they would tell me in repetition, and more people like that. But I think there's, yeah, this is like it all has to do with timing. It all has to do with timing. but it is an expression of love. And, you know, like my mother died completely unexpectedly 2 weeks ago, 3 days. She was sick for 3 days and was gone. And then my neighbor who puts my favorite food outside of my door, you know, it's like, those are my mentors. Those are the people that show me love is omnipresent. It's always there. But yeah, I mean, I've been in spaces and places in my life where it was over. And people would just come and collect me like a little bird and say, I have you, I've got you. All keystones, people of for me they're marvelous, but you know, like simple people.
What kitchen tool you identify with?
I'm the blender. But one of those really great ones, the Maggie mix, you know,
Okay.
the one that can do everything.
What's your biggest failure?
The biggest failure has been to believe that I could get away with the lie, or even sit next to someone else lying and think that I could sit next to that person and get away with that. That's always been a huge failure, whether it's me or another person.
Your most outstanding success?
Being present.
What's your most decisive or most vital skill?
My voice. The expression of my voice.
And your most critical habit?
Like destructive?
No, well, positive.
The ability to connect.
What's the book you have gifted the most?
Ram Dass, Be Here Now. Yeah, and I'm not a big fan because I think knowledge is overrated. So I don't gift books. I love books, but I don't gift them anymore. I think I would love for people to be present. So I love them, but I love for people also to forget them as soon as possible. That's why I love Ram Dass, because it's drawn. It's just, you know, it's just that beautiful brown paper. It's just, but you can also put it aside and then forget about it or give it to somebody else. I like that.
What's your favorite song?
It's yet to be sung. It doesn't exist.
If you were to choose a board of advisors, like a life or death, who will be these three advisors you will choose?
Wow, the moment you asked the question, I saw three women of simple background with many children and grandchildren, and nobody really knows their names. And they sit together and they know everything about life.
Wow, beautiful.
It doesn't, any other answer would be coming from insecurity and ego. This to me is the truth. They should be our board of advisory as humanity. They know best.
What question would you like to be asked?
I think the best question to always ask me when I'm channeling is, what is the best question to ask to the divine? And some of the people that work with me, they know that, because I'm not allowed to ask questions. So they will go, what question would Lex ask? And they ask that to the divine space, which is the only way around in satsang, because we do satsang too, where people just for hours and hours and hours go and ask questions directly to the divine space. And that's the only workaround where I can ask a question, or what is for the highest good to be the best question to be asked. And I love that question so much that regardless of any other question that you can ask me about me or whatever, whatever I'm doing, that is such an awesome question because you always get the answer, like really the answer that you needed at this very moment that we often don't even think about.
Wow. Lex, to wrap up, 2, 3 last questions. The last one is where people can find you on the internet.
Yeah, so last year I, as a beautiful disconnection from being attached to anything, I was hacked. So I lost all my big profiles and they were irretrievable. They were really destroyed. So I have like tiny little profiles. And I have Soulsong's official in Instagram that I still do a little bit. I'm not as deep in it as I was before with thousands of followers, but I still enjoy it, and I aim to put some good stuff in there. There's motherofpearl.community, which is the website from the program that I do. I do it every 8 weeks I start again. It's a 5-week program. There's 3 weeks of sleepy time, and then we get back on it.
Is it online?
It's online. It's like meditation, soul song, and everybody receives their soul song. There's classes every single day, breathing classes, satsang with me. There's womb work. There's a man circle in the group. Natasha will be the next one. Natasha, she says we, and it's incredible. It's so full. People can do it in their own time. Lifelong access. Super proud of this one. You see that? You see
that's for me in the list.
Oh, I know, man. You're gonna love this one. So yeah, they can find me. That's like motherofpearl.community. There's aleakay.com. There's I guess that's it. They can and there's a concert every Sunday. You can find that on Conscious City Guide under Oracle Song concert. So every single Sunday now for 45 weeks.
Wow.
Since the whole thing locked down, I just thought I have to bring the medicine to everybody.
So every Sunday in where?
So it's online. It's 5 o'clock Central European time. So that's early morning if you're deep in LA, but it's it's pretty good for the rest of the world. It would be like 11 and in New York, and I'll play like max of 8 soul songs for people.
Wow. Yeah. I'll ask you for the link so I can put it on the show notes. People can join. Lex, what message will you share with the people who is listening and watching this interview?
I think the message, the moment you remember who you are, you know that you can trust that everything that you are feeling, that you are sensing intuitively is right. That you do not need another sedative. You don't need another guru. You don't need to run off to anything anymore. You come home and you remember who you are and you remember the truth. And that is the sweet spot, man. That's where all the good stuff lies.
And last one, will you share with us your soul song or a soul song?
You want me to sing?
Yes.
Oh my God! Wait, I'm gonna run to my. Do I still have time for that? I don't know. I'm gonna make time. Wait. I'm gonna run to my. I'm gonna run to my tech setup. I'm just gonna do it because I have it set up, but I have to run to. It's in the yurt.
Oh, wow.
Hello, garden.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's cute. Okay, it's probably really dark, but let's see how we can fix that. Okay, I'm gonna set it up really quickly. Oh my goodness, I love this. Okay, give me a second, okay?
Yes.
Oh, Natasha, zou je mijn lichtringetje misschien, want die heb ik nu eruit gegooid. Bring the light in so you can see me again. 1 second, I'm gonna set it up in a way that you can really hear it well. turn this on. Oh, that's so nice. I love it.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it.
Of course I like it. Are you kidding me? Allow to
Okay.
live your purpose, you know? Can you hear me?
Yes.
But when you're allowed to live your purpose, then the joy, you know, like the joy to be able to, to just give the medicine, bring the medicine. It's just everything. Let me see if this works. Not yet.
I took some pictures. I'm gonna put it in Instagram, by the way.
All right, cool. Let me see. Can you hear the piano?
Yes.
All right, cool. 1 second. Light. I think this is good. And put this on, because then you have a really nice reverb too. See? I'll turn this one off and that one. And we're still good, I think. Yeah, this is nice. All right. Is this to your liking? Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Awesome. All right. Okay. I'll sing a song. I'll just let it happen. I'll just let it happen. It's not my soul song. I know that. I think it's for us. Yeah. Let's see. Piano check, right? Yeah, right? So we move and flow, we show every possibility to ourselves. Meanwhile, we'll shelve all that we need to be, trying to be someone else. Can we, shouldn't we liberate, set free the destiny that's been calling us, been trusting us, put in the beauty in our hands we can understand if we just stay and sit with it and let it land in the spirits and come home. Never have to be alone again, 'cause that's the master plan, to remember the oneness. And so many people still saying something ridiculous needs some obeying. Let's go and hunt a projection of wealth and fame, and then end up lonely, devoured by life, shame. And then the birds and the trees are calling, yeah, the rain that comes from the skies, yeah, it's falling on you on a blessing of the truth that you are. And the sun shines in your skies, and the stars shine in your skies, and just reminding you that the truth is the one that, yes, and that it's all quite funny if you're given to it, honey. Yeah, baby. But you knew this, right? You knew this. So now, one more time, childlike, divine innocence, yeah, blessed, true color of bliss. Oh, move
towards this and let it be you as it was you in the first place. Now reward yourself with being this true. But here we are. The stars, yeah, or at least the same material as what the stars are made of. And you knew this. It was said before you saw it on Instagram somewhere. Oh, that's why you collected your state of bliss. But now go and get it, baby. Go and get it, baby. Not just maybe, or maybe tomorrow. Moving away from the sorrows with love, with presence and the courage to let yourself learn to breathe in the loving, and will make you understand that it's actually quite simple if you take the leap. We can't stay and be sheep. Come on, baby. Fly like the eagle.
Incredible. The best ending ever in this podcast in 164 episodes. I tell you now.
This song, you do something, man. You keep letting me sing these kinds of songs that are just so, you know, and they're funny. Like, you saw it on Instagram. That was even the reference to social media.
Incredible, Lex. Thank you.
Thank you. This was really lovely, really beautiful. I love the respect you bring, you know, to the table. I feel it. I feel you hold the space and you hold me in it, and it's just really, yeah. I feel it, and it's so appreciated. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much, Lex. Thank you for joining in Disrupt Everything podcast series. Thank you for bringing your soul, your love, your charisma, your energy, your respect, your peace, your gift, everything. You put everything above on the table, and it's more than obvious. And it's what truly amazed me of the work you do, the generosity, the appreciation, the magnificence, the God-alike spirit, and just being so humble and so accessible and being there for everyone. Thank you so much for joining. You completely disrupted us, disrupted me, disrupted the audience for sure. And I hope, and this is a call for everyone listening to this podcast, that they can join you, they can participate in your programs, because I know what you are capable of. By the way, when we finish this recording, I'm gonna contact you for giving this as a gift for a special friend who is her birthday today. So because I was thinking on what the best gift I can give to her, which is her birthday today. I said, that's the best gift.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like on Sunday, it's the best. It's so nice, especially when people have no idea. They come and they call, they receive their song. It's
So thank you, Anna. And this is a call for everyone that just felt the need to contact you, to work with you. Try it. You won't regret. It's one of the best things I ever done in this 2021, because I met you in January. And it truly changed the way I see the world, the way I face it, the way I'm approaching it, and the way just I live it. And thank you again.
And let this be only the beginning, right? Much more
Please.
to come.
Please.
Esto ha sido Disrupt Everything by Isla García. Encuentra el riesgo antes de que el riesgo te encuentre a ti.